Good evening, nerds around the world. Welcome to episode 72 of the Nerds Unite as One podcast. I am Paul English. I will be your host tonight. We have a terrific show for you. It is our last show of the month, and joining me for it is a terrific panel that I'll introduce you. Small, but still terrific nonetheless. Beginning with Mr. Colton Hunt. How are you?
I'm doing great. Happy to be here, man. Again.
Yes, indeed. And also joining us from Geek Salad, it is Mike Gulick. What's going on?
Not too much. Glad to be here, and hey, quality over quantity.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Real quick, we were going to do this show yesterday, but because yesterday was Memorial Day, we decided to wait till tomorrow. So happy
Veterans Day.
Memorial Day. God bless all our servicemen and women. Thank you for what you do.
Veterans Day.
Veterans Day is November.
Really?
Yes. Yesterday was Memorial Day.
Okay.
Dang, I got my months mixed up. Sorry.
Okay.
Fail.
I cannot. That's insulting. I'm saying that right now. All right. Now, one thing that, the three of us, we're from different places. A lot of us have some different interests. But aside from the fact that we are all nerds, one thing that the three of us have in common is that we are proud, red-blooded Americans. We love our country. And if you don't like it, fuck you. America rules, and you know it. And it plays a major part in who we are, how we grew up.
America, fuck yeah.
Yes, indeed. But another country that had a great influence on our childhoods, sometimes without even us realizing it, was the land of the rising sun, Japan. And today we are going to pay tribute to it by discussing how Japanese shows influenced our childhoods. So we're going to get started with this. One of the first shows from Japan that wound up influencing our childhood, although we never realized it, although we probably may not have realized it at the time, was a long-running show in Japan called Super Sentai. Formula of that show is pretty simple. A group of young people get superpowers, and dressed in costume, get giant robots, they have to fight great evil. If that concept sounds familiar to you, that's because we know it in America as Power Rangers. That's been around.
It's Morphin' Time!
Yes. So I'm sure that all of us here watched Power Rangers at some point in our childhood. So we'll briefly bring that up. I started watching it, I would say, sometime around Zeo. I think that's when I started watching Power Rangers. I was a huge, obsessed fanatic of it immediately. It was just so cool that everything worked out. I wound up watching it for a few years, dropped out for a long time, and then recently got back into it because of our co-founder, Caleb Tuff. However, until just a couple years ago after I met Caleb, I didn't realize that it was actually based on Super Sentai. And as I started watching Super Sentai, I began to see just how good of a show it really was. Granted, the theme song is nowhere near as good as the one from Power Rangers, but the stories are definitely better. It is overall just a better show, even though with no dub, the subtitles can get a little annoying at times, but that's okay, minor nitpicking and whatnot. Okay, so that's how I got into Power Rangers, later Super Sentai. So, Colton, I'm going to come to you next. When did you start watching Power Rangers?
I started watching Power Rangers back when it first started, way back in Season 1. Okay, admittedly, the show began in 1993, and so I was 2 at the time, so it was probably like a few years after, 1 or 2 years after Power Rangers started, that's when I got into it, and Fox Kids was showing they were kind of in a weird period where they were sort of mixing the seasons up, I guess you could say. So 1 minute I might be watching Season 1, and then the next season I'm like, hey, where'd Jason go? and whatnot.
Yeah.
And then I eventually got into a bit of a stability, though. Once Zeo started, I sort of got somewhat stable with my watching patterns, though admittedly it took until the series was moved to ABC Family for me to actually watch it all together in one fell swoop with without jumping from season to season. But my Morphin Power Rangers, that was probably one of my first obsessions ever, I think it also helped sort of form how I know a lot of people usually go for the lone wolf badass character and whatnot. Most TV shows or whatever are not the main lead, but I think this show might be the show that caused me to actually gravitate towards lead characters. Like Jason, he is to date my favorite Ranger ever. I mean, screw Tommy, okay? It's all about Jason. Jason and his iconic "It's Morphin' Time" cry. That's always been one of my favorite things about the show, And he's a pretty good leader, among other things. So I love seeing him getting into action, saving the day, and leading the team. And yeah, so And pretty much after that, yeah, anytime there has been a lead character, they're usually been the ones that I was sort of automatically rooting for. Like, and X-Men, most people like Wolverine, but my favorite character actually turns out to be Cyclops, among other things. And Power Rangers also introduced me to an interesting concept, which I refer to as status quo is God, except when it's not. In this case being, usually with shows like Power Rangers at first started off with a bunch of just random filler episodes that you could easily just jump into at any moment. And then suddenly Tommy shows up out of nowhere, and then bam, there's like a bunch of multi-parters, and then it's not like other shows where like the multi-parters would be good for maybe like a little bit of character development, and then they go back to filler. It's like Tommy shows up, and then he's there to stay, you know? And I mean, granted, they like go back to being sort of a static. It's like granted Tommy's appearance does like establish a new status quo, but it became clear from that point forward that yeah, things can change and actually stay that way. And that was one of the something pretty innovative about Power Rangers at the time, I think, compared to the other shows that I watched.
Billy was always my favorite just because he was like the social outcast. He was the geek. He was the one I identified with. All right, yeah. So
the funny thing about Billy is that I think Linkara described Billy the best. It's like he has a physique that will make most male models jealous.
That's what he does. I mean, that's what that's what gymnastics will do for you. People think gymnastics is a girly sport. Well, have you seen the Olympics? Watch some of the men who do gymnastics. I would kill for a physique like that.
Exactly. I mean.
All right. So.
Oh, sorry. We're good.
So Colton, have you watched Super Sentai at all? When did you start watching that?
I have not watched Super Sentai except for one particular battle, and that was the fight between Genki and Burai, aka the Red
and Green Rangers.
Red and Green Ranger, just to see what the actual unedited fight was like. And to be honest, it really just blew the. I always thought there was something off about the editing to the Tommy versus Jason final battle, and now I finally understand what the hell is so wrong with it. It was like partially butchered in the editing process because, like when when Burai first transforms, he attacks when he fires his attack at Burai and Power Rangers. They cut the attack off partially because the full blast couldn't be used against Jason because Jason was morphed at the time. It was pretty awkward. So seeing the full fight playing out was actually very, very badass. You know, especially when they had their battle unmorphed. It was probably the most intense thing I've ever seen from. It was way more intense than anything I had seen from Power Rangers. You know, I mean, I like Power Rangers, but their Genki and Burai's fight was a lot more. It was better paced, better. It was all better paced, had a lot more tension to it, and you really did feel like they were trying to really go at it and kill one another. Whereas usually during the American fights on Power Rangers, they got better as time progressed, but you could sort of tell that, yeah, not all these people are trained fighters.
Well, I mean, like, as far as, like, the, like, unmorphed fights, I mean, yeah, if I recall correctly, only JDF, Austin, and Dewey Trang were actually trained fighters.
Right.
Walter Jones was a dancer, and Amy and David Yost, they were both gymnasts. So, I mean, granted, that explains, you know, Zach's hip-hop Aikido fighting, but, you know, being a gymnast, that does enable you to pull off some moves, I get it.
Right.
The fight that Colton is talking about, for those who don't know, that's from Kyoto Sentai Z-Ranger. That was the 17th Super Sentai season, and that's the one that got adapted into Season 1 of Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. I have seen that entire series on YouTube, and it is fantastic. I also own it, by the way. Just throwing that out.
All right. One other thing. I forgot. I also saw the Super Sentai version of the Legendary Battle that was adapted into Power Rangers
Megaforce.
Super Megaforce, yeah.
Yeah, I saw that too.
I've seen both Legendary Battles, and yeah, Super Sentai blows Power Rangers right out of the water.
It's not even a contest. It's not even a contest. That one is so badass.
It's like the editing is the editing is kind of awkward in the Super Megaforce one, so just watching it all uncut in Super Sentai, like seeing all those Rangers out, hearing the music playing, and seeing the original the very first Sentai team, like they move out and they all charge at once. It's like that had to have been like every Super Sentai fan's wet dream, you know, seeing every single Ranger there kicking ass, taking names, and you know, and again, the editing was not awkward, so we could actually appreciate the full value of the fight.
Indeed, that was an incredible battle. All right, so Mike, when did you start watching Power Rangers? Do you remember that, and what was the first season you saw?
I saw Power Rangers' very first episode. Thanks for making me feel old, Colton. But yeah, no, coming up to 1993, saw the special, the commercials advertising. I was like, what the heck is this? So yeah, I actually watched it from the very first episode. Wasn't really all that into it. I was like kind of like on and off for the first like few episodes, and then they started advertising this thing called Green with Evil. I'm like, okay, what? There's a green one now? And so I started watching that, and that one, that's the first one that really hooked me, because I was like, okay, this, because before it was like, it was them, they were fighting big rubber monsters, styrofoam monsters. There were no stakes. This one, there were stakes. I mean, he went in, he pretty much destroyed the entire command center.
Yeah.
He disconnected Zordon, and he shut down Alpha 5. That's some pretty big stakes right there.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that's the first one that got me thinking, you know what? There's actually something special about this show. And so I started watching them there. Kind of fell off a little bit, starting around Zeo or so. But, I was always kind of like in and out of it. I would just catch up on it until, probably I stopped watching probably around Lightspeed Rescue. Although I really like Lightspeed Rescue. I think that's probably my favorite series.
That's a very good season.
But yeah, I mean, I'd always, like I said, I'd always been kind of into it. So I was like, so eventually, I don't know, like I think when I started getting into like downloading like anime on TV online or whatever, I was like, you know what? Let's see more about what this original Japanese Sentai is. So I started watching that on I think the website is tvnihon.com.
Mm-hmm.
Hi, Chris.
Chris, what's up?
What's going on, guys?
And yeah, that's where I started getting into watching Sentai and also Kamen Rider. That's Kamen Rider Kiba right there.
Oh,
and after watching some of those, I'm like, okay, now I get it, because that's where the real good stuff came from. I mean, you watch those, and yeah, I mean, there's a certain level of cheesiness to it, but a lot of storylines are much more intense. I mean, there's some genuine heart-wrenching stuff in a few of those shows. I mean, my favorite. One of my favorites is probably Magic Ranger, and in the very first episode, their mother, it appears that she dies. That is some pretty brutal stuff.
Indeed.
Okay.
So, when you were watching Power Rangers at the time, Mike, did you know that it was based on Super Sentai, or did you only figure that, or when did you figure that out, if you did?
I kind of recognize that it's probably Japanese and stuff, because it had a lot of Japanese, like you could see the Japanese kanji in a few scenes, and a lot of the statues and they're based around Japanese mythology. So I kind of had an inkling, but I didn't really realize it strongly until I started getting into anime big time.
Okay. If you didn't know, Chris joined us late. How are you, Chris?
What's going on, guys? I'm partaking, even though a little short time in this discussion, especially Power Rangers. I know I like to make crack about you guys still into Power Rangers and all that stuff, but
Well, I know you were watching it for a while. I know you only watched it for a season or two before you stopped.
Yeah, I mean, I'm partially interested in the new movie, partially. Still not sure about Elizabeth Banks as Rita Repulsa.
Rita Repulsa is a large ham, and I think Elizabeth Banks can pull that off.
Yeah,
if they're going for that is.
Yeah. When I was a kid, I enjoyed the show. I mean, it's like made up because I was in the country. I was crazy about the characters. Just having so many cool stuff. Of course, Power Ranger. I mean, Green Power Ranger was always my favorite. He was pretty. I always liked Tommy. I thought he was always such a cool dude. I had a little crush for Kimberly. She was.
A little.
Fucking even did. Have you seen recent pictures? She's still gorgeous.
I mean, yeah, she is. Amy Jo Johnson still is pretty.
Yeah. Let's not forget about Thuy Trang, God rest her soul, but she was pretty attractive also.
Yeah, she's pretty good too.
And that was, I mean, when I heard about that, it was like, that pretty much shocked me that she had passed. It's like, wow. It's like,
I actually didn't know that until a few years ago, sadly, because what kind of fan am I?
I was like, gee. But I did see the movie, though. I mean, I did see the movie, which was pretty good. I was like, I think I was a little terrified because I thought Zordon was going to die, something like that. Yeah, so yeah, I was it was kind of a scary moment for me. I mean, I consume a lot of the merchandise and much of a lot of people. I think I remember having like a red Power Ranger head or something like that. And like,
yeah, that's pretty much, Power Rangers always kind of been like a 20-minute commercial and whatnot, but I mean,
not much. I mean,
that's what it started as, but it kind of turned into something more because of what we made it. Anyway,
yeah.
Chris, real quick before you move on, have you ever seen Super Sentai?
I have not. I mean, I know. I didn't know that Power Rangers was based on a Japanese TV series until I researched all about Super Sentai and all that. I mean, all this stuff. I do know it borrows some footage from the series. I mean, that's probably the as far as my knowledge goes.
Well, if you ever get a chance to, you should maybe give a look at Jew Ranger, which is the season which Mighty Morphin Power Rangers was drawn from. They go places where Power Rangers never would. Like, for example, Green Ranger and the Jew Ranger.
They did that in Lost Galaxy, though, if you remember.
Well, she didn't stay dead, though.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, but I do think my interest did kind of wane, after before Turbo Power Rangers came out. I mean, I know that was not,
Yeah, Turbo is a
lot to like about it, but overall a bad season.
Turbo comes together at the very end, but
if you care with that seeing the power chamber blow up.
Like if you could skip that season and go straight to In Space, I'd say you should. But Turbo actually does have some pretty crucial story elements in it that you can't exactly skip over.
The best part of Turbo was probably the Phantom Ranger.
What?
Phantom Ranger was really cool.
Yes, he was.
It was, among other things, and I do think that they had probably they did have some pretty badass moments, like the scene where they get their rescue Zords. That was actually epic, It's like one of the classic light at the end of the tunnel sort of moments for the Power Rangers. Where
how about when the Zords are fighting each other?
So it looks like all hope is lost, and it's like, hey, we're back, General. Now it's time to demote you, and then they blast him with they go straight for the finishing move and take him down. That was beyond badass, I have to admit.
Yes, it was.
I
mean, So it sounds like that not a lot of us realized that Power Rangers at the time was based on the Japanese show when we were watching our initial run. Right. So it's probably not fair to say like that's when our fascination with Japanese shows started, but I can say it definitely started when we all started watching anime. Now, anime has always been around in the U.S. for a couple decades. I mean, we got Speed Racer in the late 60s. There have always been some anime dubbed in English and brought to America for a few decades, but I don't think it was until the 90s that anime became a huge, huge thing in the U.S. And there was a time it seemed like anime was everywhere, and while I don't think it's as big as it was before, it's still, at that point, it was still pretty big. So let's start talking a little bit of anime. So what I want to know from you guys is where did you start watching anime? If you can remember the show that first got you into anime, and I can tell you this is where it started for me.
I remember. Oh my goodness!
The greatest goddamn theme song ever fucking made, right there. Pokemon. That was my first anime show, right there.
Oh boy!
I'd say somebody show that ball up.
I think I can think of a better song, but I'll wait. I'll hold on to that.
Pikachu, I choose you.
Pikachu's weak.
Okay. I actually got
the great definition of a badass adorable, man.
I actually got this at a Burger King. They were like selling these Pokeballs with
the golden
Pokemon card. Oh yeah, I got the Pikachu right there.
Mm-hmm. I used to have those. I think I got rid of them.
I'll admit Pikachu's kind of.
Yeah, I had those.
I'll admit Pikachu's kind of cool.
All right. So yes, that was the very first anime show that I started watching, and I wound up watching a few others, but we'll get into that later. So, Chris, since you've joined it, I'll come to you first. Do you remember the first anime show that you watched?
I remember watching a little bit of here and there, mostly Pokemon and Speed Racer. I wasn't really into Pokemon, but I knew kids that were into it. They were talking about the cars, how much they could collect the cars, the figures, and all that. It was like a huge sensation among children. It probably beat Power Rangers in popularity, I guess. It's hard not to see the appeal. Maybe I collected a card or two myself in my time, but I wasn't like a really huge fan. I did receive a bit of Speed Racers though. I always had a bit of interest in Speed Racer. Aside from the car, everything about it seems pretty cool. Even though I hate the movie, don't get me started on that.
I never even saw it, so don't worry about it.
It's okay-ish.
Really? After what? Oh my!
Wait a minute. Wait a second. Sorry, I was looking up something. Wait, what movie were you talking about?
The 2008 Speed Racer movie with Emil
sorry. For a moment, I thought we were still talking about Pokemon. So yeah. I thought we were talking about when you mentioned the movie. I thought you meant Pokemon the movie. Sorry, I was looking up when a couple of animes started, so my mind drifted for a second. Never mind. I've seen all I need to see of that Speed Racer adaptation from the Nostalgia Critics crossover review with Ben at the Sage, and it looks
saw that too.
Weird, to say the least.
Indeed. All right, Colton, I'll come to you next. And do you remember the first anime show you saw?
It is very hard to say. I think the very first anime I ever saw might have been Dragon Ball Z, and it was only for I had no idea what the hell I was watching. I just randomly turned to it on a Saturday morning because I'm a kid and Saturday morning cartoons rule. Or it might not even have been a Saturday. It might have just been a regular random weekday morning when I didn't have to go to school. But either way, I'm like, what the hell is this? It ends on the first episode. It's the first episode. It ends on a cliffhanger, and all that stuff that was happening that I would have had to watch Dragon Ball to understand. I'm thinking, okay, so I just skipped. So I didn't really catch the next episode or anything because I had no idea what I was looking at. I think the first anime that I actually might have looked at kind of on a regular basis might have actually been Sailor Moon, if you can believe it.
I remember my mom used to be a huge Sailor Moon fan. Personally, I wasn't. Sometimes the song really got on my nerves, I guess.
Oh, come on. Like, you didn't get a boner checking those chicks out.
I didn't even realize we were supposed to think they were hot, okay? I was a kid. I was still in a weird, awkward phase where I didn't really think about girls all that much. But yeah, Sailor Moon was probably the first anime that I actually looked at, like on a regular basis, like caught up with followed the storylines, even though, again, it was a time where the storylines had already technically aired, so the reruns weren't aired in the proper order. So I would one day be on one story arc, then the next week or so I'd be on a totally different one, totally lost as what's going on, going from Queen Beryl to the Tree of Death, and I'm like, okay, well, I'm a kid though, so I just went with it. However, the first anime that I really do remember, like, automatically wanting to stick with the minute I saw it was
Digimon?
Yep. Digimon, digital monsters, Digimon are the champions. Oh boy, Digimon, now that was probably one of my favorite animes ever, when it started off, I was thinking, I had no idea what to think of it at first, but it really caught my attention. And I was just sucked in by the new world and the cliffhangers. And yeah, the first episode ended on a cliffhanger. Can you hear me in the background? It sounds like I'm echoing in someone's...
No, we can hear you fine.
Yeah.
You're good.
Okay, I lost my trail of thought. Yeah. It's like the very first episode immediately drew me in, and again, like Dragon Ball Z, it ended on a cliffhanger, and I wound up missing the follow-up episode, but I managed to catch up pretty quickly, and I was pretty much drawn in from the end of that season all the way to the beginning of the season, all the way to the end. And as such, the subsequent seasons weren't as great, but I still enjoyed it though. I stuck with Digimon until about season 4. Then around that time, the network that I watched on no longer showed Digimon. So by the time Digimon season 5 came along, I kind of fell out of the series. But I still have fond memories of the show. When it introduced me to a new concept where there is no status quo. It's one long, continuous story arc from start to finish. Like seeing to be continued popping up on my screen. Like usually I would always dread that with all the other shows I watch, but with Digimon, I was like every episode is to be continued.
They did that with Pokemon too.
That's true, but I felt like with Pokemon it was. I never understood why they stuck to be continued at the end of every Pokemon episode when the episodes were quite clearly finished. So it's like there was no point in saying, "Oh, to be continued." Like to be continued, the stories were wrapped up.
Yeah, I know. Quick confession: I've never cared at all for Digimon because I always looked at it as a Pokemon ripoff.
They have nothing in common. I mean, aside from having Mon in the title, they cannot be anything. They cannot be any more different.
Mon is short for monster anyway.
So speaking of Pokemon, while I enjoy it, if there's one thing about Pokemon that actually bugs me, it's the fact that, well, I just did not like how the show could get a little lost in its filler episodes, you know? Like, it's clear that from start to finish that it's Ash's journey to collecting the gym badges, but at first they were pretty good about it in seasons 1 and 2, but when they got to Johto, it took them 3 freaking seasons to actually finish the storyline.
Yeah, you know, I'll admit I did. You know, you even see that delay in, like, the Indigo League. I mean, between the first episode and from the time Ash got the Soul Badge, which I believe was his 6-1, it was a relatively good stretch of time, but between that and finally making it to Cinnabar Island, that could have been like a season in and of itself. It took so long for him to get there. Like, what the hell, you guys?
Yeah, like...
I went to play the game, and it's like, I got from like my 6 badge to Cinnabar Island in less than a day. What the fuck?
I think Johto was even worse about it because they actually had a side quest tournament at the World Islands. I'm thinking, what the fuck are the World Islands? Just get to the Indigo, just get to the Johto League champions already. And then for Ash to actually lose Johto just felt pretty insulting, I guess you could say. Okay, not insulting, but it did feel like a letdown. It wasn't as bad as the loss at the Indigo League, though. That was just freaking stupid.
Heartbreaking.
I mean, I know Ash still has a lot to learn, but for him to lose because Charizard is like, screw you, Ash, I still don't respect you, it just felt like kind of a slap in the face, especially since Ash lost primarily because Team Rocket interfered.
Yeah, it's been a while since I've seen that, but I'll have to rewatch it at some point. All right, yeah, you know, I never finished the Johto show. I got to where he got the Fog Badge, and then I stopped. I think that was from Critique City, the Fog Badge. I stopped at that point because Alaska didn't show WB, so I couldn't watch the new show. So that kind of pissed me off.
I got as far as the end of the Hoenn League, and then part of Diamond and Pearl before I got a little bit into the Sinnoh League, and that was around the time that I stopped watching the show because I don't know, I didn't feel like they were really getting anywhere in terms of Ash's character, sort of. And of course, there's the fact that he suffered a pretty stupid defeat at the Sinnoh League also. I'm good.
Okie
Okay, Paul has vanished.
I think he might have vanished because there was like a weird echo in the background.
No, that's not why. I was just talking to someone.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry about that.
Welcome back.
All right. I do need to go take care of something, so I'll be back in just a moment. But before I leave, Mike, why don't you start talking about what was the first anime show that you saw?
All right. Well, the first one that I remember seeing is Voltron. That was back in the 80s. First one was the Lion one, and then they did the Vehicle Force, which was all right. I never really got into it. But the first one that I watched, first anime that I watched that I knew was anime and I really got into, right there.
Mom was a big fan. My mom was a big fan of that.
Yeah, I mean, I to be honest, I even met my girlfriend, but through a Sailor Moon online game. So yeah, Sailor Moon, I've been a fan of ever. I mean, yeah, I started watching it. I was like, this is kind of silly, but I knew that, I mean, there was definitely some more to it. The characters were deeper than a lot of the American cartoons I've ever seen. So, and yeah, so I kind of went along with Shenmue, and then I started in the mid '90s. Sci-Fi Channel every Saturday they used to show these anime movies, and I watched a few of those. Actually, hold on, let me pull up a list here. I saw ones like Fatal Fury, the motion picture, Dominion Tank Police. I saw Ghost in the Shell on that. Wasn't a big fan. I saw Akira. I'm not a big fan of Akira, to be honest.
Been meaning to see Akira.
I think it's overrated, personally. But I saw one called Iria Zeram, the animation. Project A-ko, which is a fun one. But the one that stood out the most for me was Tenchi Muyo the movie. And that Tenchi Muyo the movie got me into the Tenchi Muyo anime series, and from there I picked up this collectible card game called Anime Mayhem, and it had links with other anime, including Ranma 1/2, Bubblegum Crisis. So I got into those, and from there just kind of ballooned out. So yeah. Well, if you ever get down to Anime Boston, you love the Pokemon theme song.
Oh yeah.
Watch what happens when entire hall of like thousands of anime fans all sing the Pokemon theme song. I got it on video. All right, I got proof that it happened.
Sounds awesome.
It is awesome. And
I think Voltron was the first anime you ever saw?
Voltron was the very first one, but I didn't really know it was anime. It was just in a cartoon at the time. So after that, I was Sailor Moon. But personally, between Pokemon and Digimon, I've always been more of a fan of Digimon. Because, don't get me wrong, I like Pokemon, but it was Ash trying to get badges so he could train Pokemon. Not very big stakes. Digimon, they're sucked into the digital world, and what happens in the digital world causes chaos in both our world and the digital world. So they're fighting to save the entire universe. A little bit more important there.
All right. So now that we've established where our love for anime started, let's talk about some other anime shows that we've seen and that we kind of love. I think there's more than one that we've all seen. What are some of the other ones I've seen? Obviously, Yu-Gi-Oh was a big one for me. I love Yu-Gi-Oh. I even still got my Duel Monsters deck assembled. If anyone wants to duel, I'm all for it.
Time to duel!
Yes. What else? I enjoyed watching Cardcaptors a lot when it was on, although I didn't realize at the time how heavily edited and almost destroyed it was. Now I'd really love to see the one that aired in Canada, which, aside from a couple takeout, is still essentially the same as the original anime. What else? Trying to think, was there another one? I can't. Oh yeah. I know that it was on Toonami for a brief while, and that was Cyborg 009. I think I only got one season of the dubbed version. It was kind of upsetting because I liked that show. But by far the biggest one, the one that had the hugest impact on me, the show that I now consider the greatest damn television show ever made, Dragon Ball Z. I have been an obsessive Dragon Ball Z fan since I first saw it. I was 9 years old, and it changed my life. I'm not exaggerating that. It changed my life. It was such an unbelievable show. I still consider it the greatest. I've been an obsessive fan about it ever since then. And I don't know if I've showed this off multiple times before, but the crown jewel of my entire collection is the entire Dragon Ball saga. All 16 seasons, from Dragon Ball to DBZ to GT, all of it. Got them all, and I absolutely love it. So it is, hands down, the greatest damn show I've ever seen, and I have not seen anything that tops it. So I absolutely love Dragon Ball Z. That is my favorite show of all time and the best anime that I've ever seen. All right, Chris, you look totally dumbfounded, like you really need to say something, so I'll come to you next. What are some other anime?
You are exploding Chris's mind right now.
You consider Dragon Ball Z to be the greatest show of all time?
Yes, I do.
That's high praise.
Yes, it is, but it's deserving of it.
I mean, I heard it's got good reviews, but isn't it me? Is the show a little, I'm not saying weird, it's a little too over the top, I guess.
No, not at all.
No, not really. I mean, there are some over-the-top moments in Dragon Ball, but Dragon Ball Z is pretty serious, more or less. Well, there are some silly aspects every now and then. They do pop up. But yeah, Dragon Ball Z, I mean, it was the serious counterpart to Dragon Ball, among other things.
All right.
I mean, like, the scene where Vegeta gets beaten, like, within an inch of his life by Frieza, that was pretty brutal, among other things. I mean, hell, the series starts off with the hero dying. Who would have expected that happening?
Yeah.
Wait. It starts off with the hero dying?
Goku gets killed in the
Goku
very...
gets killed like at the beginning of Dragon Ball. Like 5 episodes in, he's dead.
That's
I
crazy.
think it's more like 2 episodes in, to be honest.
It's 3 episodes at
Definitely
best. Well, it's 3 episodes, I think, at best, where he dies. Let's see. Let me check real quick.
Ballsy.
Yeah, but he dies sacrificing himself so they can kill his brother.
His
Evil brother. Raditz.
Okay, Goku dies in the 4th episode.
Split the difference.
So we reach off by 1. Big deal.
Yeah, but yeah, like, it's like not something you expected to happen. And if you watch Dragon Ball, to see Goku actually die would have probably been a lot more, heavy. It's like, hey, Goku's the hero. He's probably safe. Then people's like, special beam cannon. Oop, dead Goku. Damn.
Yeah.
Admittedly,
And it wasn't the first time he died either.
Maybe that kind of changed the show for that. Goku's death did have something of a bad impact on the show because afterwards, the season kind of fell into until the Cell Saga, the series kind of fell into a format where Goku would be taken out of action, the other heroes get their asses kicked, he'd show up, save the day, then get taken out of commission again. But it got better around the Cell Saga, though. I'll give it that, like where Goku was actually around for the entirety of it, and the Buu Saga was probably Goku at his best, I guess you could say, in the Z Saga. The best use of it, anyway.
Yeah. All right, so Chris, go ahead. What were some other anime shows that you remember watching, or that you still watch?
I may have briefly watched Yu-Gi-Oh! For a time. I mean, there was a lot of anime I really watched. I mean, I do want to explore more of it. I mean, Miyazaki being the primary, point of interest, though. Especially, because of all his stuff. Because we all know Mike. He's got that Princess Mononoke poster in the background. You always see it every time. Every single.
I saw that movie for the first time in 1999. I went out to San Diego for the Comic-Con, and that was the very first public showing of the official dub. And it even had a Q&A with the writer of it, Neil Gaiman, afterwards.
Mm-hmm. I mean, he wrote the American dub?
Yeah, he wrote the American dub for it.
Because I know him primarily from Sandman and over works and he did. But yeah, Miyazaki's primary point of interest for me is really interesting to see. I mean, what he conjures up in his mind, though, especially with stuff like Castle in the Wind and like Howl's Moving Castle. I think that's what he was. Yeah, and what's Princess Mononoke. But I want to see Ghost in the Shell, though. I heard some really good things about it, especially with Scarlett Johansson's gonna be in the live action adaptation. Huh?
Live action adaptation?
Yeah. But Rose Lee Sailor Moon, even though at times I don't mean to offend anybody, but I couldn't really stand the show. I can't really stand that theme song. What?
It is a little addicting. I never watched it either, so I mean, don't. But yeah, sorry.
I mean, but that was really all I watched. I mean, like Pokemon, mild interest, I guess. But but yeah, I didn't really watch a lot of Japanese anime. I still want to watch it, but Akira, Miyazaki, Ghost in the Shell, those are my points of interest. I'm going to explore them in the future. You can bet on that.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, Colton, I will come to you next. What are some other animes that you would have watched or watched?
It's been brought up a couple times already, but Yu-Gi-Oh! It was, I think Yu-Gi-Oh! Might have been the first anime that I actually managed to complete, I guess you could say. Like I told you, I missed like a lot of Dragon Ball Z originally. Like I started off when I actually managed to watch it on a regular basis. I missed a lot of the Namek Saga, and mainly because it took them so damn long to actually finish Goku and Frieza's battle. But with Yu-Gi-Oh! Yeah, outside of a couple of episodes here or there, I managed to see every episode, and so it was quite a treat to actually get to the end, and see them close out the storyline. And despite the fact that it was basically about a children's card game, you managed to actually make the stakes pretty high, And the duels were pretty exciting, and the characters, well, some of them could use work, but they were pretty awesome, At times, I actually felt myself really, really liking Kaiba, actually. I mean, I know he was an asshole and all that jazz, but he was an entertaining asshole, I guess you could say. And the scene where he actually manages to take on Siegfried and defeat him with no sweat, okay, he did that. It was a tough battle, but to see him actually come out on top, I found myself applauding him, because he deserved it. He's a jerk, but he's a good duelist, among other things. And I also liked all the other characters around, and seeing like when Mai dueled against Merrick, and she was friends with that Coma, I really felt for her. And Yugi himself was a pretty big badass, and the show itself had a pretty good beginning. I mean, when Yu-Gi-Oh was like, my grandpa's deck has no pathetic cards, kind of, but it does contain the unstoppable Exodia. What? Impossible! I was looking for all 5 pieces of all 5 special cards, all 5 pieces of the puzzle. Exodia, obliterate! Oh man, now that is how you start a show, It looks like Paul is trying to go for something. Let's see what it is.
All 5 pieces of Exodia.
What? Impossible! But yeah, Yu-Gi-Oh! I really loved that show. I was not missing for anything. It was all the. It was about 5. It was about, like I said, it was a card game show, but it was a very well done one. They knew the. I've seen a lot of people come down on the show for overusing the Shadow Realm to take the place of death, but I might be honest, the Shadow Realm was actually a fate worse than death,
But it was also made for kids. I mean, I don't think they can really use death.
Well, they can't use death.
Dragon Ball Z, I don't know.
Whenever they described what the Shadow Realm was, it was kind of pretty brutal, Like Mai got trapped in a world where her memories were being eliminated one by one, and Joey got put into a coma. Like, several characters actually got put into comas over the course of the series, and experienced, very, very big tortures, It's not the kind of thing you think kids would be able. It'd be easier just to say, hey, the character died, let's move on, rather than saying, oh, they're being mentally tortured. I'm pretty sure kids will be able to accept that. And another anime I saw was, Dragon Ball Z. Like I said, it was the only other anime I've actually managed to complete. And the battles are brutal, and there are some pretty good light at the end of the tunnel moments, like Goku going Super Saiyan, Gohan going Super Saiyan, and Vegeta's sort of redemption when he sacrificing himself to destroy Boo. I really enjoyed that moment, among other things. As for other anime, yeah, there was Pokemon. Despite what I said about having issues with how long it took storylines to resolve, I still enjoyed it. I still fell out with the show around Sinnoh because I was getting kind of, I don't know. By the time Sinnoh came around, I was getting kind of tired of the show, I guess you could say. Only so many, you can only see Ash go to the Pokemon League and lose so many times before you're like, okay, screw this. But still a good series. Yu Yu Hakusho was also another, hey, the hero dies within the first few minutes series, and I almost finished it, but when they got to the final story arc, I got kind of bored, I guess, because again, they kind of suffer from infrequent pacing, but it was still a good one. Naruto, on the other hand, was probably the first show that I just got tired of watching because of its filler episodes. And when I'm read about the show, it said that the show went to filler for about 80 weeks or so. I'm like, damn. So I was like, man, I didn't really miss anything anyway. I never got around to watching Shippuden, but I've heard that it did make up for the filler inconsistencies from the original show. And admittedly, despite my issue with the filler, it was still pretty badass, Naruto steadily grew at a slow but sure rate to a more level-headed character, yada yada. So overall, those are some of the other animes I saw.
Okay, thank you very much, Colton. All right, Mike, I'm coming to you next. What were some other anime shows that you watched or still watch?
Well, I did enjoy Dragon Ball Z, but that was always more for my brother. I thought there were way too many fillers. I mean, when it takes like 50 episodes for one battle to finish. That's a little bit too much for me. That's wearing my patience too thin. Yeah, I do like parts of it, but I mean, anyway, like I said, my the after Mayhem, the card game, I got into first Tenchi Muyo. This is actually the very first DVD box set I ever bought.
Nice.
And it is really good. It was really expensive at the time. I think it was like $50, $60.
Yeah, I mean, box sets are still cool.
Oh yeah, and that also got me into Ranma 1/2.
Okay.
This one's a fun one. I don't know if any of you have ever heard of it.
No.
Main character is a guy named Ranma. He's this martial artist, and his father's arranged for him to be married to the daughter of his best friend. But while he and his father were training in China, they fell into cursed springs. So now whenever he gets splashed with cold water, he turns into a red-headed woman, and his father turns into a panda. And the hot water changes him back.
Intriguing.
Yeah, and like throughout the series, they keep meeting up with other people that have different curses on it. Like there's one guy that turns into a little black pig. One guy turns into one girl turns into a cat. It's a really fun show. It goes on a bit long, but it's still fun. Actually, I mentioned Anime Boston before, but at the very first Anime Boston, I went there and they had all the voice cast of Gundam Wing.
Okay.
That is probably my favorite Gundam series. It's about 50 episodes. If you get the chance, I highly recommend it because it's out of all the Gundam series, I think. I mean, I haven't seen a whole lot of them, but this one's got some really deep characters, and it's got some really intense storylines. I mean, the Gundam series are pretty well known for lots of action and good storylines, but this one's one of my favorites. Yu-Gi-Oh! I never actually got into. Sorry. Chris was mentioning Miyazaki, so we got Princess Mononoke. We got Spirited Away, which won the very first animated Academy Award. And there's Howl's Moving Castle.
And my sisters always loved those movies. I don't know. I've never got around to watching them.
They're excellent movies. Miyazaki. There's a reason why Miyazaki is considered by pretty much all Disney animators ever as like the god of animation. He's absolutely mind-blowingly awesome. Yeah, I mean, I've got anime all over the place here. I've got Bubblegum Crisis, which was kind of a mecha punk type series that took place that was made in the 90s. It's about this team of 4 women who put on these personalized mech suits and try and take out these robots that go mad, and they're created by this evil corporation. It's really cool. It's got some pretty cool music. Even if you don't understand Japanese music, it's still got really awesome music. I've actually bought the soundtrack somewhere. Yeah, it's right here. We got Ronin Warriors. That was shown on, I think, that was shown on Fox in Sci-Fi Channel back in the 90s. That one's pretty cool. Yeah, Ronin Warriors is basically about like 5 guys, a team of 5 guys who each have a different suit of samurai armor. Each one has a different like power, a different like element to it. And there's a whole mythology that goes on that they get into in the first season. It's really good. But yeah, I could go on and on and on. I got my entire shelf full of manga. So many manga on there. The shelf is actually sagging. I've got Naruto, Fruits Basket, Azumanga Daioh, which is a newer one that's really fun, really funny. Negima, yada yada yada.
Real quick, I forgot to mention that I've also seen, although I haven't finished it, Sonic X, and I've watched a couple episodes of Kirby Right Back at You as well. It's like the newer animes. that
Yeah,
came
I
out.
never watched those ones.
Sonic X was okay-ish. I don't know.
All
I'll
right.
take the comic book any day of the week.
All right. So yeah, obviously anime. Well, it sounds like anime played a big part in all our childhoods. What about some other shows from Japan that we might have watched? Let's talk about a couple of them, if there was anything else you can think of. One that really stuck out for me, and I still love it to this day. Anyone familiar with Iron Chef?
Oh yeah.
When it was on Food Network, I would watch that show all the time. I got such a kick out of it. And actually, a lot of the episodes are available on YouTube to watch, and I still watch them from time to time. They've just so. I know that it's got and you grew quite a draw in the U.S. because of all the weird dubbing, which gave it like a 70s Chinese kung fu style feel to it. But just some of the dishes they would come up with, like, good lord, where did they come up with this?
Fukui-san.
Oh yeah. Yeah. So yeah, fantastic show, and of course Chairman Kaga's outfits. Like, my God, dude, where are you getting this? But yeah, I love Iron Chef. Iron Chef was fun. Iron Cuisine.
There was a show that was on Spike TV when Spike TV first started. It was called MXC, Most Extreme Elimination Challenge. It was based on, they basically used all the footage from this old 1980s Japanese game show called Takashi's Castle, but they completely redubbed it, and it is absolutely hilarious. You can actually find the entire series on YouTube. I highly recommend it. MXC. I mean, just watch the first episode, and I'm just gonna say one name: Rod Blood in My Stool Tussin.
What kind of name is that?
Basically, it's this guy. He runs in. He's about to do the event. He getting up to the event. He tries to do a forward summer flip. Doesn't quite make it. Ends up hitting his back, and his legs snap over his head. He stands up, wobbly. He's like just does a nosedive into the water, and afterwards, they dive him going, I got blood in my stool. So ever since then, I've been a fan of that show. I ran for like 5 seasons. Most of the seasons were like 13 episodes. So if you got a chance, absolutely check out MXC.
MXC. All right, I think I'll check that out at some point.
It is so absolutely hilarious.
All right, thank you. All right, Colton, were there any other shows from Japan that you've remembered watching?
Well, it's based on Japan. It's another show like Power Rangers and Kamen Rider, and that is VR Troopers. Well, not quite as big as Power Rangers. I remember still really enjoying this show. But one thing I had to laugh about this show is that it's not just, as opposed to Power Rangers, VR Troopers adapted two different TV shows, and which explains why whenever the Monster of the Week attacked, Ryan would always have to go running off to do his own thing because his footage was from an entirely different show compared to JB and Caitlin. And I never noticed that growing up. I'm like, now that I'm grown up and actually had watched the show, I'm like, man, it's so obvious. Why didn't I get that? And it also explains why Caitlin never gets to destroy the Monster of the Week, because that's what her character never got to do that either. It was always either JB or Ryan that got to do the job, while Caitlin just had to sit on the sidelines and just watch as they got to have the field of finishing blow and what have you. It was still a pretty badass show, got all the great action from you were used to seeing for Power Rangers. And in fact, some of the action might have been a tad cooler than Power Rangers at times, but not too cooler, but still somewhere in the realm. Of course, the series had to have a premature end because they actually ran out of footage to use, as opposed to Power Rangers, where they just made their own footage up, among other things. But the fact that
they only did that at the end of season 1. Actually, no. Even then, no. Here's a funny story. If I remember correctly, season 1 of Mighty Morphin was actually supposed to end at 40 episodes with a 2-parter Doomsday.
Right.
But because of the rising popularity of the show, they decided to go another 20 episodes. The problem is they ran out of Zyuranger footage, so they contacted the Toei company and asked them to shoot entirely new footage that was only going to be used in Power Rangers.
Right. That's pretty badass.
Well, let's also not forget from Lightspeed Rescue, the Titanium Ranger, the very first American-only.
American-made Ranger, yeah.
Yeah.
That, and also the Spirit Rangers from Jungle Fury. They were not from the Sentai. They were New Zealand born and bred.
The funny thing about the Ju2 Ranger footage was actually that they wound up carrying that footage over into Season 2 when they started using the Thunder Zords. So that actually explains some more awkward edits. Like, when they first fought Piranha-Set, I'm thinking, they're not really fighting Piranha-Set exactly. They're just kind of swinging their sword towards the screen. And I'm thinking, why are they doing that? Isn't Piranha-Set from whatever Sentai this is?
Apparently, I guess Piranha-Saurus is from Die Ranger.
Piranha-Set Piranha-Set, he was actually from the Ju2 footage. I actually managed to find it online, and all the awkward edits are finally actually explained, among other things. But yeah, and you can tell usually whenever I think there was still more American footage in seasons 2 and 3. Like, you could tell. You could tell. Whenever Tommy was fighting, you could tell if it was from Japan or America based on his field.
Right. Well, I mean, like, because the White Ranger was from Zyranger, and they were still using the suits from Zyranger. So that was fun.
I can't blame them for doing that, though. It's like, marketing reasons. I can understand them still using that, even though, like, even when they transferred to the ninja powers and what have you.
Which is a shame. That's a shame, because I actually really like the Zyranger suits. I like them a lot more than the Zyranger suits. I thought they looked way cooler.
Yeah, they definitely look cool, and it definitely goes with the like a spiritual thunder type of thing, I guess you could say.
One thing I never noticed until I was reading about it was the fact that the Thunder Zords come right the hell out of nowhere. It's like Zordon's like, oh, I've had this extra super strong power source all this time. I never thought to say, hey, this might actually make beating Rita even easier.
Well, if you remember, Colton, one of the biggest rules of being a Power Ranger is never escalate a battle unless Rita does it first. So he may have had it, but he never needed to unleash the Thunder Zord until Zed came around because of how much more powerful he was than Rita.
Okay, that's a good point. Good catch.
Chris, did you have something?
I'm pretty much sure there's not more I can contribute. I should probably depart.
That's all right. Why don't you go ahead and then why don't you tell us if there were any other shows from Japan you remember watching?
I was about to say that because, because I'm not sure there's any more I can contribute because maybe there is some. I'm not sure, but I was about to say I probably should depart because there probably isn't any more I could contribute to this discussion.
Well, no, there still is, because even though the discussion if there's nothing else anyone said, that's the end of the discussion about shows from Japan. But we still have our collection updates to do.
Right. I was about to say, yeah, I'll bring them in momentarily.
I got just a couple more quick shows.
Okay, go ahead.
When I started getting into watching the subtitle of a lot of the Sentai shows, I also started checking out other subtitled shows, and I got into some of the J dramas, and some of those are actually pretty good. It was actually an adaptation of a manga that I got called Hanakimi. The full name of it is called Hanazaki no Kimitachi Hei. It's basically it follows this girl that moves to Japan because she kind of got a crush on this guy that she sees on TV doing the high jump. But the only problem is he goes to an all-boys school. So she dresses up as a boy and goes there and spends pretty much the entire show pretending to be a boy. Even though actually there are a few members of the cast that do find out that she is a girl, but they keep it a secret. They did an adaptation in Taiwan first. It was much more a literal version of it, and then they did a Japanese one, which is just pretty much the characters and the situation, and they do their own stories. I thought it was really good, though. Really enjoyed it.
One other anime that I can think of off the top of my head was I don't know if you guys ever saw it, but any of you hear of the show Metabots?
No.
Possibly.
I've
Familiar? I'm not sure.
heard of it. I've never seen it.
Okay, well, it's another show where kids engage in some sort of fight, use things to fight against each other. In this case, being instead of pocket monsters or children's card, they're robots with fully functioning AI and all that jazz, so they can think, feel, and with the main character's case, his Metabot actually argues with them and whatnot, which a lot of people find weird. It's like, wow, Metabot and his Metafighter that don't get along. That's kind of weird. You must really suck at this. But there's one thing that I actually want to talk about Metabots. I think it's probably the first instance of a show that I saw falling victim to what I might refer to as Deus Ex Machina syndrome. It's like it's sort of, which in this case being that the character wound up getting some sort of super upgrade and then wound up relying on that more so to win their battles than their own special skills. It's like how in Dragon Ball Z it's like how Dragon Ball started off as like a martial arts saga, but then when Dragon Ball Z came around, the series became more and more about power levels and being able to go more, discovering more levels of Super Saiyan. I mean, we've gotten to Super Saiyan God, for fuck's sake, and Battle of Gods. Even though I've heard Battle of Gods is actually a very good film, I need to check it out.
It's a fantastic film. And then they go beyond it in Resurrection F.
Yeah, I've heard like good things about Resurrection of F also. But Metabot's probably the worst offender because what the main character's Metabot Metabee discovered the power of the Metaforce, which allows him to more or less use a very super strong attack where if it actually connected, his opponent would always be defeated, would always be destroyed, and not destroyed, just his function. He would be able to knock out his opponent without any other trouble. And when Ikki and Metabee got to the world tournaments, I'm not gonna lie, almost every single fight in that tournament ended with Metabee using the Metaforce. I'm thinking, okay, this is getting kind of old now. And Yu-Gi-Oh! Sort of suffered the same thing at times, where sometimes characters would pull out this previously unheard of card to win the day. And Beyblade, I don't know if any of you guys saw that show, but there's season 2 almost relied entirely on their bit beats as opposed to their blading skills. It's something interesting to think about when you're looking at anime, you know, where it starts off more about the character's skills, but then they kind of lose the skill set sort of and go more for raw power and what have you. It's kind of ironic when just food for thought. Kind of ironic when you think about when in Dragon Ball Z, but Dragon Ball Z was probably the best to handle it though, because as the character still emphasized hard work and whatnot, especially Vegeta, you know. I mean, that guy really needs a bone thrown towards him. He always goes out of his way to achieve great power, and yet Goku is always the one to save the day in the end.
Hey, don't feel bad for Vegeta. He got Bulma, all right? I'll take Bulma over Chi-Chi any day.
I think anyone would take Bulma over Chi-Chi because, you know, to this day, I just really, really, really want to know how the hell Goku and Chi-Chi had sex. Goku obviously does not understand the concept of marriage, so how the hell did they have a kid, let alone 2?
Because Chi-Chi taught him how.
It's called videos.
That might be it too.
That must have been a very awkward. That must have been very, very awkward, you know. And then Goku's probably. Well, why are you getting so fat all of a sudden?
Well, also here's the thing you got to remember. Chi-Chi was the Ox King's daughter. I'm sure she got a lesson in how to be a boss. So, I mean, I'm sure she took command of the situation. She became a dominatrix in those moments, I guess.
To be fair, I always kind of preferred Videl over Bulma and Chi-Chi as well.
Yeah,
Videl was a good one also. Her and Gohan.
He's just a lousy father.
Yeah.
Her and Gohan made a cute couple, you know.
My favorite moments of Dragon Ball Z are the scenes where Gohan is going to high school. He's trying to keep his identity secret. Those episodes are my favorite in the entire series.
The great Saiyaman!
That costume is stupid. No, it's really cool!
Yeah, I mean, the fact that he's ripping out the Ginyu Force of all things is just even more hilarious with his poses and all that jazz.
Oh, yeah.
I will admit that there's one thing about the show that I do like is, even though it's kind of sad in hindsight, I do like Gohan's relationship with Piccolo, even if it... I mean, granted, Dragon Ball Z Bridge has pointed out that Gohan's relationship with Piccolo has been a better father to Gohan than Goku ever was, but which is kind of sad, but an interesting irony, I guess you could say. Like, Piccolo was Goku's worst enemy, yet he sort of made up for it and all that jazz by being a good mentor to Gohan and what have you. And I actually liked the times when they got to bond, especially when Gohan said, "Hey Piccolo, could you give me an outfit just like yours?" And Piccolo's like, "Yeah, sure, kid, it'll make you look real sharp."
Yeah, that was probably that's definitely one of my favorite moments.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, Goku was dead for most of Gohan's life, so you can't really blame him that much.
And he got better as the series progressed, but yeah, for a while, Piccolo was the best was his best father figure, and maybe for an even as bad as GT might have been, Piccolo and Gohan's final moments together before Piccolo got blown to smithereens was a pretty good one also. I actually do have some fond memories of GT, I have to admit. Like, as bad as it was, I actually do like the Shadow Dragon arc because it finally addressed the fact that the Dragon Balls have become some of the worst Deus Ex Machinas of all time. It's like, hey, you're gonna keep using It's like, hey, you keep using the Dragon Balls to solve your problems. Now they are your problems.
Yeah, I remember that. It still didn't change the fact that GT sucked. Overall, it's not very good though.
Oh yeah.
All right.
One last thing. Colton mentioned Yu Yu Hakusho before. I really have to agree with him because that's the only show I've ever seen where the very first episode has actually brought me to tears. Seeing the main character Yusuke, seeing him his ghost go to his own wake, it's really touching. And seeing his mother break down, it's a hard one to watch.
The entire story arc of that, him trying to being dead, trying to get back it's pretty heavy, like, especially now, like his mom said, like, before she found, like, when Keiko was trying to stop her from like, having Yusuke cremated and all that, when she said she realized that Yusuke was alive, she said she actually was going to hit his body and yell at him for leaving her again. I'm like, man, that's actually kind of heavy, and even though we see that Yusuke is a bit of an ass, seeing him actually jump in front of that car to save that kid, that was actually, that was pretty badass, it showed that even though Yusuke might have issues, but he's still a good man at heart.
Yeah.
All right, guys. So let's wrap up this discussion because it's been a very good one. Don't get me wrong, but we got 5 months of collection updates to do, so this might take up some time. So, Chris, I'm going to start with you on this one. Any movies, TV shows, video games, special collectibles you've gotten in the past 5 months?
I haven't purchased a great many, but I knew one I wanted to purchase. Star Wars.
There you go. All right. Very nice.
I mean, come on. If you're a huge nerd, dork, geek, come on. You can't pass this up, man.
Of course not. Of course not.
Yeah.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
Colton, you're next. Anything you'd like to show off?
Well, speaking of Star Wars, Star Wars: The Force Awakens. It's just the DVD, unfortunately, but I don't have a Blu-ray player, so I take what I can get. But I am glad that I own it. And I now have my second movie in the Marvel Cinematic Universe now. And no, it's not Iron Man 3. It is The Avengers: Age of Ultron.
You should be ashamed of liking Iron Man 3, Colton.
I never said I liked it. I said I think it's okay.
Do not be ashamed. Iron Man 3 is still fun.
Yes, it is.
Like, Iron Man 3 has some redeeming factors outside of the very bad execution of that Mandarin twist. But, well, that's another...
I watch that movie without burning my skin.
All two of our viewers can see what I think of Iron Man 3 in one of our previous episodes. And one last thing I own, it's not really a collectible, but I have been searching for this for a long time, and I finally got it as a birthday present. It's just a shirt. It's a shirt, but it's the Ruined Shield shirt that was sold at the time that Captain America: The Winter Soldier was out in theaters. I intended to get it. I didn't realize how much I wanted it until I'm like, until after the theaters the local theater stopped selling it. Then I thought, it shouldn't be that hard to find. I'll just look for it in stores. Oh my gosh! I went to so many stores looking for this thing, and then I'm like, oh crap! It was like must have been a limited edition thing. So my sister went online. My sister went online, found it online. She bought it for me, gave it to me for my birthday. It was a good present.
All right. Thank you, Colton. All right, Mike, you are up next.
All right. Well, I got Star Wars. I got the Blu-ray as well, but this is the soundtrack because
John Williams.
John Williams. Need I say more?
Nope.
I got Ratchet and Clank, the video game here.
Hmm.
Didn't never bother with the movie because I don't care, but the games are really fun.
I've heard some people say that the movie is basically just a game.
Yeah, that's why I kind of figured. So I figured, you know what? I'll get the game because I have fun with those, and I won't bother with the
You got
movie.
Ratchet and Clank?
Yeah.
Okay.
See?
Okay.
I also got this one fairly recently. Justice League versus Teen Titans.
Nice. Very good movie. Absolutely.
Absolutely frozen.
Did I freeze?
Yeah,
Yes.
just for a few seconds.
I'm sorry. Absolutely stellar movie. I love it.
Yes, it is. It's a very, very good movie. Oh yeah. Lego Avengers. Assemble, literally.
I'm waiting for that one to drop in price a little bit before getting it.
I can't not buy the Lego games because they're just so damn fun. I'm chomping at the bit for the end of next month when Lego
Star Wars
Force Awakens comes out. You know. Oddly enough, there are going to be some side missions in that one that are actually canon.
Woo!
Like it shows how Han caught the Rathtars, and that level is going to be completely canon.
Wow.
I guess,
Okay.
I guess we're gonna see Han's crew get slaughtered then.
Yeah. That's gonna stink.
Oh yeah.
And got this shirt, of course.
Nice.
Where'd you get
This one
that?
actually I just got for my birthday from my best friend, my co-host of Geek Salad, who went down to Disney World and picked me up this.
Very nice.
I got to get that. I got to get that shirt.
I need that shirt too.
Yes.
I was like a trip to the Disney Store website's in order.
Can't wait for Rogue One.
Oh, you know what? Yeah. Hey, why not? Twilight Princess in HD for the Wii U.
Ah, okay.
I love that game. It is a great game. One of my favorites of the Zelda series. I'm sure there's more because I've gotten tons in the last 5 months, but those are the only ones I can reach to.
Okay, fair enough, fair enough.
Those are the only ones I can get to in arm's length right now.
Okay. Well, I've gotten like a shit ton of stuff the past 5 months, so be ready for a bit. All right, so sticking with our Japanese theme, recently got this Ninja Sentai Kaku Ranger complete series. Just came out earlier this month.
Yeah, the Alien Ranger saga.
Yeah, I was kind of surprised to learn that these were the I learned that from Linkara. These were the Kaku. These were the Alien Rangers. These were the Kaku Rangers. So Clever uses Sentai footage. Right. So there's that. I also picked up this awesome Dragon Ball Z 13 movie saga. Got Dead Zone, World's Strongest, Tree of Might, Lord Slug, Cooler's Revenge, Return of Cooler, Super Android 13, Broly, Legendary Super Saiyan, BoJack Unbound, Broly Second Coming, Bio Broly, Fusion Reborn, and Wrath of the Dragon. There's a lot of movies in here. I do wish there were a couple there that I really wanted. Hoping to get Legend of History of Trunks and Bardock, Father of Goku in here, but still a cool set.
How can they not have History of Trunks up there, but they have Bio Broly?
I don't know. I'll find it at some point. I'm sure it's fine. All right. So what else have I gotten? Well, I've gotten a few rebuys over the past few months. I rebought Men in Black 1 and 2 on Blu-ray, so now I have those. And let's see, nothing up there, nothing up there, nothing up there. Okay. Here, so some of these I've kind of shown off in pictures before, but on our group page, but I'll show them off again for our show. I got Spectre at last on Blu-ray.
I got that one.
Still haven't seen it yet.
Me
Yeah, I
neither.
haven't seen it either. I got my first Criterion movie, 12 Angry Men, Blu-ray Criterion.
Oh, good movie.
I still haven't seen that all the way. I need to.
That is
You need
such
to
a good
see
movie.
the original. I mean, the remake's okay, but this is fantastic right here.
It is hard to top Henry Fonda's role acting in that one.
Yes.
Was it Lee J. Cobb was in that one?
Yes, he was in number
yes.
3, too.
Yeah.
Cool to buy. I got Bruce Almighty. Nice little pickup there.
Never liked that movie.
That's a fun. That's
I
a
was
fun
really
one.
happy that I got a chance to expand a lot of my build up my steelbook collection. My collection of steelbooks. I got the Target exclusive Creed steelbook.
Nice.
Nice choice.
I did a blind buy on this one as well. I got the 30th anniversary steelbook of Top Gun.
I got the Need.
Really like Top Gun. After speed.
I need to see it because I have not seen it yet, so I gotta get around to it.
Oh, well, now you can finally learn the context of that line.
Well, I've seen the clips for it, and I also downloaded Kenny Loggins' Danger Zone onto my iPhone. So.
Can't get enough of Kenny Loggins stuff.
Whenever someone mentions Top Gun, I'm always reminded of the scene from 30 Rock. So Elizabeth, still think I'm gayer than the volleyball scene in Top Gun?
I haven't seen a lot of 30 Rock though.
All right.
Is indication or something?
No.
So, like you guys, I also got Star Wars Force Awakens, but I got the Best Buy exclusive steelbook.
Nice.
And speaking of Best Buy exclusive steelbooks, I also got the one for Deadpool. Yeah. And I've rewatched this movie about 5 times.
Time to make the Jimmy fucking John, guys.
There's a lot of big difference.
I also got Justice League vs. Teen Titans. I rebought Batman Under the Red Hood on Blu-ray. Best Batman movie I've ever seen right here. I kid you not.
Okay.
Killing joke.
That comes out August 2nd, folks. Mark down your calendars.
Oh.
I also got Batman Bad Blood. Very good movie. Rebought this little beauty in this comic form, Batman versus Batman, Superman, Batman, Public Enemies. So I have the original graphic novel as well as the movie inside. Don't know if I've shown this one, but Superman, Batman, Apocalypse. Rebought that on Blu-ray. And then, oh, geez, come on. Okay, yeah, there's this. Superman, Shazam, Return of Black Adam, the short collections.
Mm-hmm.
And then last but not least, Green Lantern First Flight. So that's what I've got in the past 5 months. And yes, it was a lot. But
It was a good haul.
What?
I said it was looks like a good haul.
Yeah, not bad for 5 months, and I got a good feeling about next month. I got a feeling I'm going to get some very nice stuff, which I can't wait to show off. All right, guys, so that is going to wrap up our show. Chris, thank you very much for joining us. It was fun.
Well, yeah, definitely. It was just definitely like doing. I mean, even though I didn't contribute a lot, it's great being part of the discussion here.
That's all right. You did just fine. Colton, it was a pleasure having you here.
Pleasure to be here, man. Enjoy it. Enjoy it as always.
Yes, indeed. And Mike, as always, we appreciate you taking the time to be here.
Oh, always glad to be here for you guys.
All right, so yeah, like I think I'm going to wrap up episode 72 of our show, and it's also going to wrap up our shows for the month of May. Our next show will be the 1st of June, and we're excited for that one, so we will see you that time. Getting hot out there, everyone. Summer's coming, so everyone stay hydrated, drink plenty of water, Gatorade if you need to, all that. Stay hydrated and have a safe summer. If you're still in school, so summer vacation's coming up, so get ready for that, and we will see you next week. Have a great day, everyone.